I stared at the glossy invitation on my desk, the gold lettering mocking me. You're invited to Linda's 55th birthday celebration, my own mother's birthday party, and I had to find out about it through my father's secretary, who assumed I already knew. I didn't. My name is Maria, and I've spent the last 8 years being the invisible daughter of the Holmes family. While my sister Teresa basks in the spotlight of our mother's adoration, I've been quietly keeping our family business afloat from behind the scenes. Did you see the invite? My best friend Aiden's voice crackled through my phone speaker. Yeah, just now. Angela from Dad's office forwarded it to me. I tried to keep my voice steady, but the tremor gave me away. Are you sure? Aiden asked. Once you do this, I'm sure. I looked at the invitation again, my name conspicuously absent from its elegant surface. It's time everyone sees exactly who I am. The party was in full swing when I arrived. Crystal glasses clinked, fake laughter echoed off marble walls, and there, at the center of it all, stood my mother, beaming at Teresa like she hung the moon. Maria, Dad waved me over, relief visible on his face. You made it. Before I could respond, Mum's voice cut through the crowd. Everyone, Teresa has some wonderful news. The room fell silent. I gripped my champagne glass tighter, already knowing what was coming. The Richardson merger that Teresa handled last week. Mom's voice swelled with pride. It's officially our biggest deal of the year. Applause erupted. I took a long sip of champagne, trying to wash down the bitter taste in my mouth. I'd spent 3 months orchestrating that merger, working late nights, handling negotiations. Teresa had only shown up for the final signing. You should say something, Aiden whispered beside me. He'd come as my +1, my emotional support in this den of wolves. What's the point? Maria. Teresa's voice rang out as she approached us, her designer dress swishing. I'm so glad you came. Did you hear about the merger? Congratulations, I managed, the word tasting like ash. Oh, and thank you for fixing that presentation last week. Mom said it was brilliant. She lowered her voice. Though next time, could you make the financial projections a bit simpler? Some of the board members looked confused. They looked confused because you couldn't answer their questions properly, I muttered. What was that? Nothing, excuse me. I turned to leave, but Mum appeared, blocking my path. Teresa, darling, Mr. Peterson wants to discuss potential opportunities for you in the London office. London office, I blurted out. But that's my project. I've been developing that expansion for... Maria, Mum cut me off, her smile never reaching her eyes. This is hardly the time or place. Besides, Teresa has shown exceptional leadership skills. You should learn from her example. Learn from her? I laughed, the sound sharp and bitter. Do you even know what she actually does at the company? The conversation around us quieted. Teresa's smile faltered. Maria, Dad warned softly. No, I want to know. I turned to Mom. Do you know who actually wrote the merger proposal? Who spent 3 months negotiating terms? Who stays late every night making sure your precious Teresa looks good? Mom's face hardened. I think you've had too much to drink. I think I haven't had nearly enough. I set my glass down with a sharp clink. You know what's funny? Teresa couldn't even explain basic profit projections to the board without my notes. That's enough, Mom snapped. If you can't celebrate your sister's success without jealousy, perhaps you should leave. Jealousy? I felt Aiden's steadying hand on my arm. I'm not jealous, Mom. I'm tired. Tired of being invisible while Teresa takes credit for my work. How dare you? Teresa stepped forward. I've earned everything I... Really? I pulled out my phone. Should we call Mr. Richardson right now? Ask him who actually handled the merger negotiations. The room had gone completely silent. Guests pretended to be absorbed in their drinks, but I knew they were hanging on every word. Maria, Dad said quietly, maybe we should step outside. Why? I met Mom's cold stare. Isn't this what parties are for? Family togetherness? If you can't behave like a proper daughter, Mom hissed, then perhaps you shouldn't consider yourself part of this family at all. The words hit like a physical blow. Even Teresa looked shocked. Mom, she gasped. I straightened my spine, years of hurt crystallizing into determination. You know what? You're right. I shouldn't consider myself part of this family, because this isn't a family, it's a fan club for Teresa. Maria, Dad started. No, it's fine. I grabbed my purse. I'll go. But remember this moment, Mom. Remember exactly what you said tonight. Aiden followed me out, waiting until we reached my car before speaking. Are you okay? That's messed up, Maria. Your own mother. It's fine, I cut him off, though we both knew it wasn't. I'm used to it. My computer pinged with another email, this time from Teresa, asking me to review her presentation for tomorrow's board meeting. The same presentation she'd take credit for, just like always. I leaned against the cool metal, my hands shaking. Call Bruce, tell him I want to meet first thing tomorrow. You're really going to do it? I thought about Mum's words, about Teresa's fake sympathy, about years of being pushed aside. Yes, it's time they learned what it feels like to be invisible. As we drove away, I caught a glimpse of Dad watching from the window, his expression unreadable. Soon he'd understand why I had to do this. Soon they'd all understand. Happy birthday, Mom, I whispered to the night. I hope you enjoyed your party, because it's the last one you'll host as CEO of this company. Bruce's office felt colder than usual as I spread the documents across his desk. Aiden sat beside me, scrolling through financial records on his tablet. Your mother's been busy, Bruce said, adjusting his reading glasses. These unauthorized transfers to the London office, all under Teresa's name, I finished. But look at the signatures. Aiden leaned forward. Those aren't Teresa's. No. I pulled out another document. Mum's been forging Teresa's signature on official documents for months, probably trying to build a paper trail of Teresa's competence. Bruce removed his glasses, rubbing his eyes. This is serious, Maria. Combined with the contract your father signed, a knock interrupted us. Kendall, Teresa's best friend and our HR director, stood in the doorway, her face pale. I need to talk to you, she said. All of you. I nodded, and she closed the door behind her. I can't keep quiet anymore, Kendall burst out. Your mother, she's planning to force your father into early retirement. She wants to install Teresa as CEO immediately. What? The word came out as a whisper. There's more. Kendall pulled out her phone. Listen to this. I recorded it yesterday. Mom's voice filled the room. Once James is out, we'll need to deal with Maria. Find a way to discredit her work. Make her quit. Teresa needs to be the only viable successor. My hands clenched into fists as Teresa's voice responded. But Maria does good work, Mom. The company needs strong leadership, not someone who hides in their office doing paperwork. Trust me, darling. I know what's best. Kendall stopped the recording. I'm sorry, Maria. I should have come forward sooner. Why now? Aiden asked, his protective instinct kicking in. Because what they're doing is wrong. Kendall met my eyes. And because I saw what happened at the party. You deserve better. Bruce cleared his throat. This recording, combined with the forged documents and your father's contract, we have everything we need. Wait. I stood up, pacing. Why would Teresa agree to this? She knows she can't handle the company alone. Power is seductive, Bruce said quietly, and your mother can be very persuasive. My phone buzzed, a text from Dad. Your mother's called an emergency board meeting for next week. Something about succession planning. They're moving fast, Aiden observed. I turned to Bruce. How quickly can we prepare everything? Give me 2 days. I'll have all the documentation ready, including proof of the forgeries. Make it 1 day. I showed him Dad's text. We need to move faster. Kendall stepped forward. I have access to all the HR files. I can help. Why would you risk your job for this? I had to ask. Because Teresa's my friend, but this isn't right. Your mother's manipulating everyone, including Teresa. Someone needs to stop it. My phone buzzed again. Teresa this time. Mum's acting weird. Says she needs me to sign some papers about London. Can you look them over first? Perfect timing, Aiden said, reading over my shoulder. I typed back, "Sure. Meet me at the office in an hour." "This is your chance," Bruce said. "Get her to admit to the forgeries, record everything." An hour later, I sat across from Teresa in my office, watching her flip through the London documents. "These numbers seem off," she frowned. "And this signature. Maria, this isn't mine." "I know." I placed my phone on the desk, recording. "Mom's been forging your signatures." Teresa's face crumpled. "She said it was just temporary, that she'd fix everything once I was ready." "Ready for what?" "You know what's crazy?" I said, opening the attachment. "Teresa's about to present my market analysis to the board tomorrow. The one I spent 3 weeks putting together, and Mom will probably throw her another celebration dinner for it." "Why do you keep doing this to yourself?" Aidan asked. "You have the—" "Don't." I glanced at my locked desk drawer, where that particular document lay hidden. "Not yet. To take over." Teresa looked up, tears in her eyes. "She wants me to be CEO, but Maria, I can't. Everything I've accomplished, it's all been you. The mergers, the expansions. I'm just the face." "Then why go along with it?" "Because—" She wiped her eyes. "Because it's the only way Mom looks at me with pride. If I failed, if I told the truth—" "She'd treat you like she treats me?" Teresa nodded miserably. I stopped the recording. "T, what Mom's doing isn't just wrong, it's illegal. And it's hurting everyone, including you." "What are you going to do?" I gathered the documents, my decision crystallizing. "I'm going to show everyone exactly who's been running this company. The question is, are you with me or with Mom?" Teresa stared at the forged documents, then at me. For the first time in years, I saw my sister instead of my rival. "Tell me what you need," she whispered. I smiled, feeling the pieces falling into place. "First, we need to talk about that board meeting next week." The week leading up to the board meeting felt like walking through a minefield. Mom paraded around the office, dropping hints about exciting changes and new leadership, while Teresa avoided eye contact whenever we passed in the hallways. "Everything's ready," Bruce said, sliding a thick folder across his desk. "Are you sure about this timing? Mum's given us no choice." I checked my watch. She's meeting with the board members individually today, probably trying to secure their votes. My phone lit up with a message from Aidan. "Your mother just went into Peterson's office, looking smug." "We need to move now," Bruce insisted, "before she has time to—" The door burst open. Dad stood there, his face ashen. "Maria, we need to talk." Bruce gathered his papers. "I'll give you two a moment." Once we were alone, Dad sank into a chair. "Your mother, she wants me to sign retirement papers. Today." "What?" "The board meeting isn't until next week. She says it's better this way, cleaner." He ran a hand through his hair. "She has everything prepared, the paperwork, the press release announcing Teresa as the new CEO." "Dad." I knelt beside his chair. "Do you trust me?" He met my eyes. "You know I do. Then don't sign anything. Not today, not tomorrow." I squeezed his hand. "Just hold on until the board meeting." "Maria, what are you planning?" A knock interrupted us. Teresa slipped in, closing the door quickly. "Mom's finishing up with Peterson," she said. "She's coming here next." Dad looked between us, confusion clear on his face. "You two are working together." "Things change," Teresa said softly. "Sometimes we need to fix our mistakes." Footsteps echoed in the hallway. Teresa's eyes widened. "She's coming." "Dad," I whispered urgently, "whatever happens, whatever she says, just stall. Can you do that?" He nodded, straightening his spine just as Mom swept into the office. "James, darling." "Oh." Her smile faltered, seeing us all there. "Girls, your father and I need to discuss something private." "Actually," Teresa spoke up, "I need to talk to you about the London office signatures." Mom's face tightened almost imperceptibly. "Later, dear. This is more important." "Is it?" I asked. "More important than forged documents?" The temperature in the room seemed to drop 10 degrees. Mum's smile became razor sharp. Maria, I don't know what you think you're implying, but this is hardly the time for your accusations. Mom, Teresa stepped forward. We know about the signatures, about everything. Mom's composure cracked, just for a second. Teresa, darling, we discussed this. Sometimes in business we need to expedite things. By breaking the law. I pulled out copies of the forged documents. By forcing Dad into retirement. You don't understand, Mom snapped. Everything I've done has been for this family, for the company's future. You mean for Teresa's future, I corrected. Or at least, what you think is best for Teresa. I know what's best for this company, Mom said, her voice rising. And it's certainly not someone who hides behind spreadsheets and paperwork. Dad stood up. Linda, that's enough. No, James, it's not enough. Mom whirled on him. Sign the papers, now, before she ruins everything. Before I ruin what? I asked quietly. Your perfect plan. Your attempt to push Dad out and install Teresa as your puppet CEO. How dare you? My office door opened and Dad stepped in. His tired eyes met mine, and he gestured for me to end the call. I'll call you back, I told Aiden. Dad closed the door behind him, his shoulders sagging. I just heard about the invitation situation. It's okay, Dad, really. No, it's not. He ran a hand through his graying hair. I told your mother to send you one. She said she would. I forced a smile. Well, now I know. I'll be there. Mom, Teresa interrupted, tears in her eyes. Stop, please. I can't do this anymore. I can't be CEO. I'm not qualified. Of course you are. You've handled everything perfectly. No, Teresa's voice strengthened. Maria handled everything. The mergers, the expansions, the London office, all of it. I just presented her work. Mum's face went white. You're choosing her side, after everything I've done for you. I'm choosing the truth, Teresa said. The office door opened again. Bruce stepped in, followed by Peterson and 2 other board members. I believe, Bruce said calmly, we should move up that board meeting. Now seems like a good time to discuss the company's future, don't you think? Mom's eyes darted between all of us, realization dawning. You planned this. No, Mom. I gathered the documents, my hand steady. You planned this. I'm just making sure everyone sees exactly what you planned. As Bruce ushered us toward the boardroom, I caught Dad's eye. He nodded slightly, pride replacing the worry on his face. The time for hiding was over. Now, everyone would see the truth, whether Mom was ready or not. The boardroom felt like a courtroom as Bruce laid out the evidence. Mom sat rigid in her chair, her knuckles white against the polished mahogany table. Teresa hadn't stopped trembling since she began her confession. So you're saying, Peterson leaned forward, that Maria has been the actual architect of our recent successes? Yes, Teresa's voice cracked. The Richardson merger, the Asian expansion, the London office, it was all Maria's work. I just presented it. And the signatures? Another board member asked. I didn't sign those documents, Teresa said. Mum did. She said it was necessary for the transition. Transition? Peterson's eyebrows shot up. The plan to remove Dad and make me CEO. Teresa couldn't meet Mom's eyes. But I can't do it. I'm not qualified. Maria is. Mom slammed her hand on the table. This is ridiculous. You're letting her manipulate you, Teresa. Everything I did was to protect this company's future. By breaking the law, I pulled out the contract Dad had signed years ago. Or by ignoring this, Bruce distributed copies to the board members. This document, signed 5 years ago, makes Maria the majority shareholder of the company. It was Mr. Holmes's insurance policy, ensuring the company would be led by the most capable successor. James? Mom's voice trembled. Is this true? Dad straightened in his chair. I've watched Maria work miracles for this company, while you dismissed her achievements. I had to protect her future, and the company's. You betrayed me? Mom's face contorted. After everything we built together? No, Linda, you betrayed us. You betrayed both our daughters with your obsession with appearances. Kendall stepped forward. playing the recorded conversation. Mom's voice filled the room, discussing plans to force Dad's retirement and push me out. The board members exchanged alarmed looks. "Mrs. Holmes," Peterson said gravely, "these allegations are extremely serious. Forgery, fraud, attempted corporate takeover." "It was all for Teresa," Mom burst out. "She's the face this company needs. Maria is she's just what, Mom?" I stood up slowly. "Just the daughter who actually knows how to run this company. The one you've been stealing work from for years." "I never stole." "Really?" I pulled up the presentation from last month's board meeting on the screen. "Teresa, explain the financial projections in Section 3. Teresa paled. I can't." "Because you didn't write them," I said quietly. "I did, like everything else." "This is outrageous." Mom stood up, her chair scraping back. "You're all conspiring against me. Teresa, tell them the truth." "I am telling the truth, Mom." Teresa's voice strengthened. "For the first time in years, I'm finally telling the truth." The board members huddled together, whispered conversations filling the tense silence. Finally, Peterson spoke. "Given the evidence presented, we need to take immediate action. Mrs. Holmes, you'll be suspended pending a full investigation. Mr. Holmes will remain as CEO until a proper succession plan is implemented. Maria." He hesitated. "I've seen how hard you work. The hours you put in, the way you support your sister. Your mother, Dad, please." I stood up, gathering Teresa's presentation papers. "We both know Mum will never see me the way she sees Teresa. I accepted that a long time ago." My phone buzzed with a text from Teresa. "Did you fix the presentation yet? Mom wants me to rehearse it for her tonight." Dad caught a glimpse of the message and frowned. "You know, you could tell them." "You can't do this." Mom's voice rose hysterically. "This is my company." "Actually," Bruce held up the contract, "it's Maria's company, and has been for 5 years." "No." Mom turned to Teresa, reaching for her hand. "Darling, please. We can fix this. Tell them you were confused, pressured." Teresa pulled away. "I'm sorry, Mom. I can't lie anymore." The security team Bruce had quietly arranged waited outside. As they escorted Mom from the boardroom, she turned back one last time. "You'll regret this," she hissed at me. "Both of you will regret betraying me." After she left, Teresa collapsed into her chair, tears streaming down her face. "I'm so sorry, Maria, for everything." "It's not your fault," I said, surprising myself by meaning it. "Mom manipulated both of us." Dad cleared his throat. "The board needs to make some decisions. Teresa, Maria, perhaps you should take the rest of the day." Outside the boardroom, Teresa grabbed my arm. "What happens now? Now?" I looked at the office around us, the empire Mum had tried so desperately to control. Now we rebuild, the right way this time. Will you ever forgive me? I thought about years of resentment, of watching Teresa take credit for my work, but I also thought about Mum's manipulation, about Teresa's courage today. "I already have," I said. "We were both victims here. The question is, are you ready to learn the business properly this time? As my sister, not my rival." Teresa's smile was watery but genuine. "I'd like that." My phone buzzed, Aidan checking in. I typed quickly, "It's done. Mum's out. Everything's changing." And it was. The truth had finally come out, and with it, the chance to rebuild not just the company, but maybe our family too. Well, what was left of it anyway. 3 days after the boardroom confrontation, I found Teresa sitting in my office, staring at a stack of financial reports. "These are incredible," she said, not looking up. "I never really read them before. Just memorized your notes." "That's about to change." I set 2 coffee cups down. "Ready for your first real lesson in corporate finance?" "Mum's lawyers called again," Teresa blurted out. "They want a meeting." I sank into my chair. "What did they say?" "She's threatening to go public. Tell everyone we orchestrated a hostile takeover." Teresa's hands shook as she reached for her coffee. "She says she'll destroy the company's reputation if we don't reinstate her." A knock interrupted us. Aidan poked his head in. Sorry, but you both need to see this. He placed his tablet on my desk, showing us Mom's social media post. Betrayed by my own daughters, the truth about corporate sabotage and family betrayal coming soon. Business scandal and family betrayal. She's really doing this, Teresa whispered. Of course she is. I pulled out my phone, dialing Bruce. She's losing control, so she's trying to force our hands. Bruce answered on the first ring. I assume you've seen it. Yes. Options. We have the evidence, Maria. All of it. If she goes public, she'll only implicate herself. But she'll damage the company in the process, Teresa said, loud enough for Bruce to hear. Actually, Bruce's voice took on a familiar legal tone. This might be the perfect opportunity to get ahead of the story. On our terms. Dad appeared in the doorway, looking exhausted. Peterson's called an emergency board meeting. Your mother's posts are making investors nervous. An hour later, we sat in the boardroom again, but this time I was at the head of the table. We need to act fast, Peterson said. The market hates uncertainty. Then let's give them certainty. I opened my laptop. I've prepared a press release detailing everything. The forged documents, the attempted forced retirement, all of it. But also our path forward. You want to go public with our dirty laundry? Teresa looked horrified. I want to control the narrative, I corrected. Show that we discovered irregularities, investigated, and took appropriate action. Position it as corporate responsibility, not family drama. It could work, Bruce nodded. Transparency often plays well with shareholders. There's more. I pulled up another document. I've drafted a new corporate structure. Teresa, I want you to head our client relations division. What? Teresa blinked. That I'm the one doing all the work? That Teresa barely understands half of what she presents? I shook my head. Mom would never believe it. A knock at my door interrupted us. Bruce, our family lawyer, stepped in, his expression grave. Maria, do you have a moment? Dad nodded at me and left, closing the door behind him. Bruce waited until we were alone. I saw the guest list for Linda's party. I assumed there was a mistake when I didn't see your name. You're excellent with people, T. That's not fake, that's all you. Let's use that strength legitimately. While you run everything else? She didn't sound angry, just curious. While I do what I've always done, but this time with proper recognition. Dad cleared his throat. The press will want interviews. Good. I stood up. Because I want to talk. No more hiding in the shadows. My phone buzzed. Another social media notification. Mom had posted again. Watch my exclusive interview tomorrow. The real story behind the corporate coup. She's not backing down, Teresa said. No, I smiled grimly. But this time, we're not either. I turned to the board. I suggest we schedule our own press conference. Today, beat her to the punch. Maria, Dad warned, this could get ugly. It's already ugly, Dad, but I'd rather fight in the open than hide in the shadows. The board voted unanimously to support my plan. As everyone filed out, Teresa lingered. Why are you giving me a chance, she asked. After everything? Because you chose truth over power. That's the sister I want by my side. Aidan appeared with a garment bag. Your power suit, as requested. The press conference is set for 4 o'clock. I took the bag, remembering all the times I'd helped Teresa dress for presentations that should have been mine. T, I called as she turned to leave. Want to help me prepare? For real this time? Her smile was worth every bitter memory of the past 8 years. As we worked on the statement, my phone lit up with a text from Mom. You'll regret this. I made you both everything you are. Teresa saw it and grabbed my hand. No, she didn't. You did that yourself. And it's time everyone knew it. I squeezed her hand back, then started typing my response. You're right about one thing, Mom. Everyone will know the truth. All of it. See you at 4. The media was already gathering outside. Through my office window, I could see the news vans arriving. In a few hours, everything would change. Again. But this time, I was ready. No more hiding, No more shadows. It was time to step into the light. Camera flashes exploded as I stepped up to the podium. Teresa stood to my right, Dad to my left, presenting a united front. The conference room buzzed with reporters, all hungry for the scandal Mom had promised them. "Thank you all for coming on such short notice," I began, my voice steady. "Today, we're here to address recent allegations and share some important corporate developments." A reporter's hand shot up. "Is it true your mother is accusing you of orchestrating a hostile takeover?" "Actually," I smiled, sliding the contract across the podium. "There was no takeover. This document, signed 5 years ago, legally established the company's succession plan." Another reporter jumped in. "Why are we just hearing about this now?" "Because," Teresa stepped forward, "I've been taking credit for Maria's work for years. Our mother orchestrated it, and I went along with it. That ends today." The room erupted. Cameras clicked frantically as reporters shouted questions. No mistake. I turned to my computer, pretending to work. Just Mom being Mom. "You know," Bruce said carefully, "that contract you showed me last month, it could change everything." I stopped typing. "I'm not ready." "The longer you wait—" "I know." I met his eyes. "But when I do this, I need it to be perfect. I need everyone to understand exactly what they've done." Bruce nodded slowly. "Just remember, timing is everything in business. And revenge." After he left, I unlocked my desk drawer and pulled out the contract, the document that could destroy my mother's illusion of control over the family business. Dad had signed it years ago, making me the majority shareholder, not her, not Teresa. My phone buzzed again. This time it was Kendall, Teresa's best friend. "Hey, your mom's showing everyone Teresa's new office. You know, the one that was supposed to be yours." I looked at the contract in my hands, then at Teresa's presentation on my screen. 8 years of being invisible. 8 years of watching Teresa take credit for my work. 8 years of Mom pretending I didn't exist. Maybe Bruce was right about timing. I picked up my phone and called Aidan back. "Remember what you said about the contract?" "Yeah? I think it's time." I took a deep breath. Mom's birthday party might be the perfect occasion for a different kind of celebration. "Ms. Holmes," a woman in front called out, "your mother just tweeted that you fabricated evidence to force her out. Your response?" I gestured to Bruce, who began distributing packets. "These documents show a pattern of forged signatures and fraudulent representations. We've included forensic analysis confirming the forgeries." "And you can verify these claims?" someone else shouted. "I can," Teresa's voice rang clear, "because I'm the one whose signature was forged by our mother." The doors at the back of the room burst open. Mom strode in, her lawyer trailing behind her. "This is outrageous," she announced to the suddenly silent room. "My own daughters, spreading lies." "They're not lies, Linda." Dad's quiet voice carried surprising authority. "And you know it." "James?" Mom faltered slightly. "You're supporting this betrayal." "I'm supporting the truth." He turned to the reporters. "My wife has been manipulating this company and our daughters for years. I signed that contract to protect both the company and Maria's future." "This is all very dramatic," Mom's lawyer interjected, "but Mrs. Holmes has documentation." "Forged documentation," Bruce cut in smoothly. "Would you like us to present the forensic analysis of those signatures as well?" Mom's face contorted. "Teresa, darling, tell them how your sister is manipulating you." Teresa stepped to the podium. "No more lies, Mom. Maria did everything you praised me for. The Richardson merger, her work, the London office expansion, all her. I just stood there and smiled." "You ungrateful—" Mom started forward, but security blocked her path. I held up my hand for quiet. "We're not here to air family grievances. We're here to announce corporate changes that will ensure transparency and proper attribution of work going forward." "And what about your mother's role?" someone called out. "My mother's actions are under investigation. The board has suspended her pending the results." "You can't do this." Mom's voice rose hysterically. I built this company. No, Mom. I met her eyes across the room. Dad built this company. You just took the credit. Sound familiar? The reporters went wild, cameras flashing as Mom's face crumpled. Her lawyer tried to pull her away, but she shook him off. I did everything for you, she shouted. Both of you. I made you strong. No, Teresa said quietly. You made us afraid. Maria made us strong. If there are no further questions, I addressed the room, we've provided detailed press packets outlining the company's new structure and leadership team. One more question, a reporter stood up. Ms. Holmes, Maria, how does it feel to finally step out of the shadows? I looked at Teresa, who nodded encouragingly, then at Dad, who smiled with pride. Finally, I turned to Mum, still standing at the back of the room, her perfectly crafted world crumbling around her. It feels honest, I said simply, and that's how we'll run this company from now on. As security escorted Mom out, her last words rang through the room. You'll fail without me, both of you will fail. But looking at the supportive faces around me, Teresa, Dad, Bruce, Aidan, even the board members who'd come to show solidarity, I knew she was wrong. Later, as the last reporters filed out, Teresa hugged me tightly. That was terrifying, she whispered. But also, freeing? Yeah, I agreed. No more hiding. My phone buzzed with a text from Kendall. Check the stock price. I looked. Despite the scandal, or maybe because of our transparency, our shares were up. The market, it seemed, appreciated honesty as much as we did. Ready to learn your new role? I asked Teresa. For real this time. She squared her shoulders. Ready to be the sister you deserved all along. Together, we walked out of the conference room, leaving the shadows of Mom's manipulation behind us. The truth was out, and surprisingly, it felt like victory. The morning sun streamed through my office window as I reviewed the final settlement papers. Mom's signature looked shaky at the bottom, a far cry from her usual confident strokes. She signed without arguing. Teresa set 2 coffee cups on my desk. Bruce says she didn't have much choice. The evidence was overwhelming. A knock at the door interrupted us. Dad entered, looking more relaxed than I'd seen him in years. Peterson just called, he said, settling into a chair. The board unanimously approved your proposal for the London office. Our proposal, I corrected, glancing at Teresa. The client relations strategy was all her. Teresa beamed. It's amazing what you can accomplish when you actually understand what you're presenting. My computer pinged with an email notification. Mum's giving an interview to the Financial Times tomorrow. Are we worried? Teresa's smile faded. No. I pulled up the pre-interview notes Bruce had obtained. She's admitting to everything. Says she was blinded by maternal ambition or something. Damage control, Dad nodded. Her lawyer probably insisted. Another knock. This time it was Kendall. Sorry to interrupt, but you both need to see this. She handed me her tablet, open to Mum's social media. My breath caught as I read her latest post. To my daughters, I was wrong. The need to control everything cost me what mattered most, your trust and love. I'm sorry. Is this real? Teresa whispered. Keep reading, Kendall urged. The post continued. Maria, you were never invisible. I was blind. Teresa, you never needed my manipulation to shine. I failed you both as a mother. The company is in better hands now. Your hands. She posted it an hour ago, Kendall said. It's already going viral. Dad cleared his throat, his eyes suspiciously bright. Maybe there's hope yet. Speaking of hope, I pulled out 2 folders. I have something for both of you. Teresa opened hers first, gasping. Is this your new contract as head of client relations, with a seat on the board? She looked up, tears in her eyes. I haven't earned this. You will, I said firmly. You already are. Dad opened his folder more slowly. Inside was a contract keeping him on as chairman emeritus, with an advisory role. Maria, he started, but I cut him off. The company needs your experience, Dad, and I need your guidance. The real kind, not Mom's version of it. The intercom buzzed. "Ms. Holmes, your mother is here." The room fell silent. Teresa gripped my hand. "Send her in," I said. Mom looked smaller somehow, her designer suit hanging loose on her frame. She clutched her handbag like a shield. "I suppose you've seen my post," she said quietly. "We have." I gestured to an empty chair. "Did you mean it?" "Every word." She sat down stiffly. "My therapist says I need to make amends, but that's not why I'm here." "Why are you here, Mom?" Teresa asked. Mom pulled out a thick envelope. "These are my resignation papers from all remaining company positions. And," she hesitated, "my shares. I'm signing them over to both of you, equally." "Mom," Teresa breathed. "I can't take back what I did," Mom continued, "but I can try to fix what I broke. Starting with this." She turned to me. "You were never invisible, Maria. You were brilliant, and I was too obsessed with my own vision to see it. And me?" Teresa's voice shook. "Did you ever see me? The real me?" "I saw what I wanted you to be," Mom admitted. "I'm hoping maybe I could get to know who you actually are. Both of you?" I looked at Teresa, seeing my own mix of hope and caution reflected in her eyes. Then at Dad, who nodded slightly. "We have a monthly family dinner," I said carefully. "Usually just Dad, Teresa, and me. Maybe you could join us sometime." Mom's eyes filled with tears. "I'd like that." As she stood to leave, she paused at the door. "You've done amazing things here, both of you, together." After she left, Teresa turned to me. "Are we crazy to give her another chance?" "Maybe," I smiled, "but we're doing it our way this time. No more shadows, no more pretending." Dad squeezed both our shoulders. "Speaking of no more pretending, don't you have a board meeting to run?" I gathered my papers, catching my reflection in the window. The woman staring back wasn't invisible anymore. She never really had been. "Ready?" I asked Teresa. She straightened her jacket. "Ready to be your sister, your colleague, and myself, finally." Together we walked toward the boardroom, leaving the shadows behind for good. Sometimes the best revenge isn't about getting even. It's about becoming exactly who you were meant to be, in the full light of day.